Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. When the Browns got Odell Beckham in a trade from the Giants, two New York sources told me that he would astound us with his athletic ability and that he's a really great teammate, and he won't get in any trouble with the law. But they both said that he will also astound you with his ability to call attention to himself. Well, they were right on the money. But if you ask me if I would take what he does on the field in place of his narcissism, I'd take it in a heartbeat. Bring on the Rams on Sunday Night Football. Dan Labbe is here from cleveland.com. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into its 24th consecutive year and seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Speaking of cleveland.com, Dan Labbe, cleveland.com, and the Plain Dealer is here. Dan, why don't we just put some helmets on and start playing football? The heck with all the other stuff that goes on.
Yeah, I mean, what makes the NFL so great is you get this week leading up to the game and a week after to dissect the last game, but then that's also the problem, right? You just want to get out there and play games and not have to talk about visors and watches and whatever else.
And you know something, with the quarterbacks being injured, and as much as it helps the Browns that Roethlisberger's here, nobody wants to see that happen. But you would think that the thought of playing 18 games is just absolutely absurd.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the Browns injury report today alone. It's huge. So I think...
Do you know some names? I didn't see it yet. Unexpected names?
Well, David Njoku is still on there with his wrist injury. Demarius Randall remains on there. Morgan Burnett. Both the cornerbacks, Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams, popped on there with hamstring injuries today. So,
well, that's not good.
Yeah, 18 games is a tough sell for anybody in that Browns building right now. That's for sure.
No question about that. Dan Labbe does a great job with cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. All right, so what did we see the other night other than a real bad team in New York, the Jets? But I subscribe to the age-old theory that a win is a win is a win.
I mean, how many teams have gotten fat off the Browns over the years because they've looked like the Jets? You know, even during the Hugh Jackson years, how many teams won games that maybe they didn't play their best game?
Chalk up two.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, look, you want the Browns to look better. That's life with expectations. You kind of nitpick a little bit, but you're right. At the end of the year, they're going to add up the wins and add up the losses, and
they'll call you and tell you where you play.
Pretty much.
That's how that works.
If you win enough, maybe you get to play at home.
This portion of More Sports and Les-Levine brought to you by the Ohio Lottery with all the great scratch-off games. You'll hear more about that a little bit later. Dan Labbe is with us. Generally, when you look at that list of injured guys, that doesn't mean they're on a Thursday. That doesn't mean they're not playing.
No, I wouldn't worry yet about Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams. Let's see how that plays out. Hamstring injuries, depends on the severity.
They linger.
Yeah, I'd be worried about a guy like Demarius Randall. He's still in the concussion protocol.
Right.
I'd be a little surprised at this point if he played. It sounds like Kirksey's out. We know David Njoku has a broken wrist, even though Freddie-Kitchens didn't want to outright admit it today. He's probably out this week and then a long time after that, probably at least a month, if not longer. So, you know, there are some injuries that we kind of know they're going to be out, but, you know, a guy like Morgan Burnett, if that quad injury is okay, and he's been walking around the locker room, I had a chance to talk to him yesterday a little bit, so much so that I actually forgot about the quad injury momentarily when I talked to him. So, you know, maybe he'll be able to get out there and play.
Doesn't Morgan Burnett sound to you like a stockbroker?
Yeah, he should be on like the stock exchange, buying and selling and all that stuff.
I would think so. All right, what are we going to see in the Los Angeles Rams? And by the way, I feel so much better calling them the Los Angeles Rams than St. Louis Rams.
It does feel better, although I feel bad for St. Louis. I kind of got used to St. Louis with the greatest show on turf and Kurt Warner and Marshall
St.
Faulk.
Louis lost the St. Louis Browns to become the Baltimore Orioles in baseball. It happens all the time.
Yeah, they're a bad luck city. But, you know, we all know about Sean McVay, and I got a chance to talk to Kadarius Hodge, who's the Browns special teamer. He was with LA last year and actually played in the Super Bowl a little bit on special teams, a wide receiver. And he had nothing but great things to say about Sean McVay, and that's really where it starts. He runs an up-tempo offense by NFL standards. They really don't run a lot of different personnel packages, but they move their receivers around a lot. They'll play inside, they'll play outside, and they can run the football. For as new school in offense as they are, they can just get old school and run the football.
You just said something a minute ago, that if you put 10 Cleveland Browns players in a room and say, one of these guys played in the Super Bowl last year, I'm not sure even the best Browns fan, I'm pretty sure the best Browns fan, number one, wouldn't recognize him, and number two, wouldn't think that he played in the Super Bowl.
Well, the good news for me is there's a nameplate over their locker. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't recognize him either.
And if they didn't have the nameplate, you would ask somebody who that is, and if they're real good jokesters, they could say, "Oh, that's somebody," and it's not.
Yeah, it wouldn't end well.
Yeah. Hey, I want to take a minute to thank the people with the Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame. Put on a great show last night. Urban Meyer and 5 others inducted into the Hall of Fame. I know Urban has detractors. Is that the word I'd use?
Sure.
He has tractors and detractors. But he was tremendous. He couldn't have been nicer. And although you couldn't be, if you made $5, $6, $7 million and didn't have to work this year, you'd be the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, he's making money. He's doing some TV work. He could, if he wants to unretire, he can go to pretty much have any job he wants.
Yeah, he was great. He told some great stories last night. No question about that. You know, he expected to be drafted by the Indians.
Really?
Yeah, he was drafted by the Braves, but Gabe Paul had led him on to believe that the Indians were going to draft him. And he's waiting at home and waiting at home and waiting. He's still waiting at home for that phone call.
I had no idea. I mean, the Indians could probably use him right now.
Right now.
All the injuries they have. Can he play second?
He's the only guy who's not injured. Let's talk about the Indians for a minute. I don't care if it's the Detroit Tigers or Detroit Kittens or whatever. Wins are tough to come by. And that's why I've always said that in April when baseball players or managers say, the win doesn't matter, we'll worry about it in September. The wins get harder to get in September. And the Detroit Tigers, as bad as they are, they get tougher to play in December or in September.
And baseball's such a random game, right?
Yeah.
In football, if you're a better team, you can just go out like on Monday night and win by 20. Yeah. But in baseball,
everybody's got a pitcher.
So random, and there might be a pitcher who you just can't figure out on a certain day, or for whatever reason your whole lineup isn't swinging the bats well. There's so much randomness in the game.
Let's take a look at the standings as far as the wild card is concerned. One of these teams will be left out. Athletics have a 2.5 game lead over the Indians. The Rays a half game in the, I have to use the word, all-important loss column. It's mandatory, you must say that. Here are the Athletics and what they have left: 3 against the Rangers, 2 against the Angels, and 4 against the Mariners. If you're the Indians, that's not a good choice of teams for them to play. The Rays will take on the Red Sox. Even though they're out of it, they still have the talent. Should be able to win a game or two. Yankees need a game or two to overtake the Houston Astros. And the Blue Jays will finish out. The Rays and the Jays will finish things out in the American League, and then the Nationals of Washington will play 3. That's the Indians and who they will play. They'll take on the Tigers tonight. The Phillies with Charlie Manuel coming in. He'd like to have one of his hitters with a game winner, I would think.
I would think so.
Yeah, then the White Sox and the Nationals. It's just so weird that the Cleveland Indians of the American League will finish off the season in Washington of the National League.
Yeah, it's a strange setup with the interleague play, and you know what? It doesn't work out in their favor. I mean, they almost have to sweep the White Sox, and then who knows from there.
Let me ask you this: Reyes is going to sit on the bench when they don't have the DH. If they put him in left field for a 3-game series, how many plays do you think will actually come his way, and how many will he botch up? Let's say if you say the answer is 3, will he mess up 1? And if so, is having his bat in the lineup for 10, 12 at-bats over a 3-game series, would that be worth it?
Yeah, I mean, I would think you could live with some mistakes if he's going to hit, 2 home runs in a series. I think you could certainly live with some mistakes, but maybe the counterpoint is if he's on the bench, you can kind of pick and choose your spots for him a little bit too. So maybe there's a little advantage there, that if there's a moment you want him up to bat, you can put him up there. But, I mean, you want him up there 4 times a game.
I would think, but no manager, well, Francona doesn't have to worry about job security, but not many managers would do that.
Yeah, and Francona obviously has done such a great job. I mean, Joe Madden in Chicago has to worry about his job, which is bizarre. He won a World Series for them.
First one in
2016.
40 years or whatever.
You know, obviously the Indians organization knows what they have in Francona.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Did you know that there are over 130,000 winners in the Ohio Lottery's pick games every month? With that amount of winning, you can try pick 3, pick 4, or pick 5 for chances to win up to $500, $5,000, and $50,000, and that comes up twice a day. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. We'll check out some of your responses a little bit later. We'll take a break. Dan Labbe is with us. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Well, first, I think he's played his butt off. I really do. I think he's competed awfully hard, you know, other than the back end of the first game when we were down. And, you know, that's his nature, is to try and make a play. But I think he's played awfully well. We've got to – I'm sure he would say that he could play better. But in my eyes, there's a lot of things that go into that. We've got to scheme it better. We've got to play better up front. We've got to do a better job in terms of everywhere, route running, you name it. It's all of us to put ourselves in a better position to be more consistent. You know, at times we've been choppy, and that's all of us. There's not one area, or, you know, be fixed. And again, we're close. We just got to continue to build on the things we're doing every day, and then continue to get better at it.
All right, Todd Monken talking about the Browns offense and Baker Mayfield. I've heard 5 or 6 things about Baker Mayfield, starting to people pointing fingers at him. First of all, 1-1 is an okay record to start with. I don't care how you got there. How does this one sound? Because I haven't heard this one before. That whether it's because of the play calling by Freddie-Kitchens, that the play clock is getting down to 2-1-0, not leaving him any time to audible as he reads the defense. Is there anything to that?
I think that's been a little bit overblown, honestly. I think there have been cases where maybe they let the play clock get down a little bit. But a lot of quarterbacks will do that. And I do think Baker Mayfield was audibling the other night. I do think he was changing some things. I think he had time to do some of that.
Even though it looked like he was late getting to the line?
Yeah, I mean, I'll hear that they need to pick up the pace. But I do think, you know, look at a guy like Phillip Rivers, who has kind of made a career of waiting until the play clock gets down to about 5 seconds so he can see what the defense can do, sort of force the defense's hand to show him something. Now, I don't know if Baker Mayfield is doing that intentionally or not, but I think in the NFL that play clock does tend to run down a little lower than you see in like college or even the high school level, because they want to see what defenses can do. Now, I'd like to see more pace. I'd like to see them play a little bit faster. But I didn't worry as much about the play clock stuff as maybe some other people
another
did.
factor about the play clock is on some of the broadcasts, that play clock that you see is not necessarily the play clock that is being used for the game itself.
Yeah.
It's the
Sometimes
television
off.
production of it.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it can be a little bit off. And again, sometimes it's intentional. Sometimes they do want to go up to the line and make the defense show them something.
Right.
But I do know there were plays when I rewatched the game the other night. It did look like there were plays where Mayfield was audible and able to make adjustments at the line. And I was more concerned with the fact that there wasn't much motion pre-snap. There wasn't a lot of play action necessarily.
Right.
It just seemed like the offense was stale before the snap.
When you're watching it on the replay, you saw it when it happened, and you watch it on the replay once or twice. Does his arm seem weaker than usual, or is it still the strong arm that he had?
I think his arm is still there. I mean, he's still taking big shots down the field. He's still making throws that make you stop and say, wow, that was an insane throw. That was a perfect throw. I mean, the ball to Odell Beckham that he caught with one hand was a great throw.
It was a great catch.
It was
and
a great catch, too.
Maybe a better throw.
Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. So he still has that ability. I mean, what I'm seeing is a guy that's a little bit, I don't want to say skittish necessarily, but I'm not sure how much he trusts his offensive line right now. He seems to be making a read and then kind of leaving the pocket or rolling out. And I think sometimes he'll see his tackle get pushed back a little bit, and he'll react to that instead of kind of moving up and moving around in the pocket like he did a year ago.
All right. Do you see anything to the assertion that he's trying to please Odell Beckham and is looking for him maybe too long? Holding out too long till he comes open?
I do think he's looking down the field a lot more, maybe than he did last year where he was getting the ball out a little bit quicker. I don't know that it's always to Odell Beckham, though. I just think for whatever reason, he's looking down the field and trying to push the ball down the field. And we're maybe that's some of that Todd Monken influence in the air raid. But the Browns have hit on a lot of big plays. It's just they've got to start hitting on some of those little things. And the timing on a lot of that stuff just seems off right now.
The running game. You like it, don't like it, wait and see?
I was actually a little surprised when I looked at the box score after the game and saw Nick Chubb's numbers. They were actually lower than I thought they would be. I actually thought he ran the ball really well when I was watching the game in real time. And he had the 19-yard touchdown run. I thought he was very effective running the ball. I don't remember off the top of my head how many carries he had. I want to say it was maybe 18, which I think is an okay number. Now, they were winning this game by 20 points. I didn't love that they threw the ball with under 2 minutes left. That's a great opportunity to just hand the ball to Nick Chubb and let him take that hit.
It's a better opportunity to put the quarterback on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. Let Garrett Gilbert come in and throw a handoff.
Did Freddie fall asleep on that? Was there? I know he said that, we're playing 60, meaning 60 minutes. But I don't know. I think that's a bad choice to do when you're up by 20.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this with Freddie over and over again, where he'll say something and all of a sudden he lives up to it in a game. So I'll give him credit here. He always says we're not paying attention to the score. We're going to go out and play the game. I guess that's what he was doing there, practicing what he preaches, but that's also a great way to get your quarterback hurt on a meaningless play.
All you got to do is say, by the way, Freddie, that's nice you're playing 60, but take a look at Pittsburgh and New Orleans.
Yeah, I mean, get those guys out of there or give them safe plays. It doesn't matter if you convert that third down. It's okay to run the ball and have to punt.
And let Gilbert have a shot or two.
Yeah, let him
Just
get some live
ball.
reps.
216-575-0403 is the number. Dan Labbe is with us from cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. All right, people are going to say I'm too negative here. Let me be positive for a minute. Where'd the kicking game come from all of a sudden?
It's the Scottish Hammer.
I know it's one game.
Yeah, he's really impressed me. I mean, I thought it was a risk. I thought it was a mistake that they didn't keep Britton Colquitt, but they bet on the upside of Jamie Gillen, and it's paid off.
Did anybody pick up Colquitt?
Yeah, he went to Minnesota.
Okay.
There haven't been any holding issues. Austin Seibert has been good ever since that missed extra point. He hasn't missed a kick since.
Right.
I mean, the kicking game, which was really the biggest area, well, one of the biggest areas of concern, probably top two, right, with the offensive line.
And they turn it over completely.
Yeah, it's gone off without a hitch outside of that missed extra point.
I was more concerned about holding the snap, and that's something we're going to worry about when the weather gets bad. Yeah. You got a good long snapper, but you got to make that catch of the snap and put it down correctly.
And with Seibert, you can't say anything about him until he has to go win a game.
Yeah.
That's really what matters. Can you go win a game, make a kick from 45, 50 yards when this team needs you to do
Although there
it?
was pressure on that first kick, I think, because of the whole off season and training camp and exhibition games. So I think there was pressure. But once he got that, smooth sailing at that point.
Yeah, and Mike Prefer kind of admitted that maybe Seibert wasn't completely ready to go out there and kick because they scored so quickly. You got to always be ready to kick.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, it seems.
Was he?
If that's his excuse, it's not a good one. You've always got to be ready to kick.
Yeah, but it's not that he smiled and let everybody know this is a joke. I think he was serious about it. And if he's serious, he's got to take some of that blame.
I think so. And maybe he was a little bit when he said that. Maybe he was taking that onto himself a little bit. But in the NFL...
But he wasn't dismissing it.
After a pick six, you've got to go out there and kick. And you certainly aren't expecting it in that situation.
No.
So
216-575-0403. Les-Levine for Northeast Factory Direct. You've heard about Alex for a long time now if you watch local television. 20 years ago, he started the company out of a small garage in Lakewood selling a single dining room set. He had no overhead costs, and he found out he's able to sell it at half the price of a retail store. And now, 20 years later, he's celebrating 20 years in the business since it started in a garage. This month, he's having a garage sale all September long. It's not a normal sale. It's more of a celebration, but they're putting special pricing on many items, listed even lower than the already low prices. Check them out at any of the 3 great locations. You see right there, West 140th in Cleveland, Euclid at Lakeland Boulevard, and of course the new one, that of course on Freeway Drive, that's in Macedonia. East, west, and south, it's Northeast Factory Direct. We'll come back in a moment. More sports. I want to tell you about Northfield Park with live harness racing coming up on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and it goes with the post time of 6 p.m., but they're open early every day for simulcast action from the top tracks all over the world. Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. Dan and I return in a moment. More sports and Les-Levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of September and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
Winning enough for a new Saturday morning ritual. That feels like a million. Play the newest instance from the Ohio Lottery.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player. It'll be a good test for us. We'll have a game plan and a plan for him, but you know, everybody's going to have their one-on-one matchups they're going to have to win. So, you know, you can't find a way to double team a guy all the time. So, you know, we have to be good with our fundamentals and good with our technique and win our one-on-one battles. That's just part of it. And again, he's a great player, so it'll be a great test for all of us.
How much of the time would he tend to be down your way? I mean, he's all over the place in terms of where they line him up.
Yeah, I mean, he mostly plays 3 technique, but he'll play out at defensive end in certain packages. He'll play over the nose in certain packages. There's a good chance each of us will have a shot at him and have an opportunity to go one-on-one against him at some point during the game. So all of us need to be ready to bring our A game.
What's the skill set that has made him Defensive Player of the Year?
Explosive, powerful, but super quick, great with his hands. He's a great player. He has, you have the five-tool baseball player or whatever it is. He's that for defensive lineman. He's got everything you look for.
And he's the kind of guy who probably a lot of people said, well, he manhandled that team. When you're in your shoes and you're trying not to get manhandled by anybody, how do you kind of screw up your courage?
We're all professional football players. So obviously, he's a two-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's a great player, but we're also professional football players as well. So I don't think we look at it like, we're playing, God reincarnate. We're playing a very, very talented football player, and we're going to have to bring our best to the table. But we're not going into it thinking that we're looking down the barrel of a gun by going against them. We're going to have to do our job and block them. But we're going into it, ready for the challenge.
We've spent all week asking you guys about Aaron Donald, but he's not the only pass rusher they have. Does he kind of open it up for everybody else, though, too? Yeah,
that's the thing where if you're always sliding to him, obviously it opens up one-on-ones for everybody else. So that's the thing where we can't always, telegraph what we're doing and always do that. So there's going to be times where you have to go one-on-one with him and slide other ways just so the other side can't just get teed off on with games and stuff like that. So again, they've got a really talented group. They brought Clay over from Green Bay. They've got Fowler, obviously Brockers. They've got a really talented crew overall with Aaron leading it. So it'll be a great test for the entire offensive line.
All right, sometimes you hear people talk about big, dumb football players. They're not talking about offensive linemen when they talk about that.
No, offensive linemen are some of the best talkers in the room. I did a story where I talked to all 5 of the Browns starting offensive linemen about Nick Chubb a few weeks ago, and every single one of them was just great to talk to on the topic. They're always really smart. They have to know so many things about the offense, and they have to communicate with each other, and it's just it's a different group than the rest of the locker room.
Let's switch to the other side of the ball. Myles Garrett. We didn't hear, I don't think in the first 2 years, I don't think we heard of any charges of him being a dirty player, right?
No, I don't think
so.
And
now you're starting to hear it. Number one, why is that? And number two, is there anything to it?
I don't think there is. I think these roughing calls have been sort of borderline. You go back to the one against Ben Roethlisberger at the beginning of last season. They called it a body weight penalty, and then the NFL said, you know what, we shouldn't have thrown that flag. I think one of the ones this past week was another one of those body weight type of penalties. I don't think the hit on Trevor Siemian that got him hurt was necessarily a dirty hit. I think it was just sort of a combination of things all happening at once. I don't think Myles Garrett is out there trying to hurt the quarterback or trying to send guys off the field. I do think he gets a little overzealous sometimes, and he's got to learn. These rules have been in place for a while now. There's no excuse to not know them, and he's just got to learn to hold up a little bit.
I wouldn't expect certain players to understand this part of it, but a 15-yard penalty is a big, you talk about getting chunk plays. Giving the other team 15 yards and most likely a first down really changes the scheme going up against you.
Yeah, and especially if it happens on a third down where you think you're getting a stop, and then all of a sudden there's a roughing penalty behind it.
Yeah, the field changes.
Yeah, and it completely changes the situation. 15 yards, like you said, it's a lot of yards. It's a first down and then some.
All right, so 18 penalties week 1, 9 penalties, or was it 8 week 2?
I think it was 9.
9, yeah, they cut it in half.
5 of them were on Myles.
Yeah, and some were declined. So it didn't matter that much. Was that a function of, what was it a function of?
I think part of it was just getting to week 2. I think week 1 they were really sloppy. I think they made it a point of emphasis to clean up some of the stuff. Obviously the only one who was getting the post-snap penalties was Myles with the roughing, so they cleaned up a lot of that stuff.
Oh, because he was the only one getting close to the quarterback.
Yeah, I guess. And then they cleaned up some of the holds defensively, things like that. What was interesting was Steve Wilkes today said he's actually more concerned with the offsides penalties for Myles. The pre-snap stuff, he really doesn't like that stuff. That's something that he feels you have a little more control over. If you happen to hit the quarterback a little bit late and the NFL just gets you with one of their rules where they're kind of overprotecting quarterbacks.
Right. But offsides is offsides.
There's only so much you can do. But offsides, that's on you. You've got to stay on sides.
He has come out publicly to say he's going after the MVP award for the Defensive Player of the Year. Do you have a problem with that?
No, I mean, I like it. I think it's, Miles is a guy that he doesn't talk with a lot of bravado necessarily, but he'll say things like that sound a little understated, and then you kind of look back and say, oh, he really did say that.
Well, you're hearing it from all over. Announcers nationally, locally, whatever, that's what you're hearing. So he's not shying away from it in any way.
No, and, he knows he has the ability to do it. And if it motivates him to go out there and dominate games like he did against the Jets, I mean, that's great. And he probably would have been Defensive Player of the Week were it not for those roughing penalties.
Are you sensing anything? Freddie-Kitchens may be feeling some pressure, even though he's 1-1 here. The pressure of calling the plays, which is an easy thing to complain about. Do you think he's feeling any of that pressure?
I think you have to. I mean, he's human. I think winning that game takes a lot of pressure off.
Sure.
This game on Sunday. Right now, I mean, I certainly wouldn't pick them to win this game based on the injury situation, based on how good the Rams are. So you could be sitting at 1-2, and now I think that's when things start to tighten up a little bit because your schedule gets really difficult. And then you've got to go on the road to San Francisco on a Monday night. It just gets really hard, and that's, I think, when that pressure starts to mount a little.
I mean, you could go 2-4 in the next 6 games and still be in pretty good shape based on who you're going to play after.
Yeah, absolutely, because you still get Cincinnati twice. Miami, who obviously doesn't want to win this year. There's some games that you can win in that second half.
There are some bad teams.
There really are. Now, Buffalo's a little better than we thought they would be. We'll see if that holds up. But there's.
Well, you say they don't want to win. What's the difference between being the first pick and the 4th pick? It's not that much different, is it?
I guess if there's a quarterback you really like and you want to get to pick him, I mean, that's probably what they're thinking.
I'm just wondering how you tell an offensive lineman, hey, go ahead and let's tank this game and we'll find somebody to replace you.
I think tanking is really hard in football. I mean, because you're right.
Guys.
How do you tell these guys playing this physical game where your careers are so short and they can end, in an instant? That, you know what? We're not trying to win.
No, and then the head coach is told to tank games, and then he's the one who gets fired because he didn't win games.
Yeah, exactly. And he's trying to build this culture where you can win eventually, and that's hard to do if you're losing all the time.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, look what they did in Cleveland, but you forget Cleveland; they were still 7-8-1. Under the new regime. It's not like you'd be emulating them as they became champions.
And I mean, at least the Browns were competitive in some of those games. I mean, the Dolphins haven't even been competitive yet this year.
No question about it. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Tri-C is a place where you can explore your interests and find a program that puts you on a path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. Dan Labbe and I return in a moment. We're halfway through. More Sports and Les-levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's check out our birthdays for today. Duke Snider, the great Dodgers center fielder. Joe Morgan, the Hall of Famer. Scott Free, 1947. Kenny Britt, remember him?
Ugh, unfortunately.
George Springer and C.J. McCollum, all born on the 19th of September. 216-575-0403. That's the number that was called by BP in Pepper Pike. Hello, BP.
Les, how you doing tonight?
Good. Dan Labbe with us. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was so excited for this Brown season, but it's really looking bad with these injuries that are piling up.
You know something, before the show, Dan, we were talking about it. We couldn't wait for football to start. Now it seems like it's dragging on.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL season, it's only 16 games. Yeah. Then those 16 games feel really, really long when you actually get into it.
Absolutely. So
well, it's a little bit. I mean, I heard even recently in the last hour that some of the cornerbacks, Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams, might be injured. Is that true?
Well, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, they popped up on the injury report with hamstring injuries, so we'll have a better idea tomorrow whether they're going to play or not. But yeah, they joined the injury report today.
They have to report them for gambling purposes, BP.
I think they need to take them to a hospital, like in Wapakoneta. I think like the Cleveland Clinic, they're too good. Their imaging is too good. Like take them to like a small town or like a small hospital. I think that would be better. This is crazy. I mean, I have run out of fingers on how many guys are out, not even including the suspended guys.
Yeah. By the way, the Browns use University Hospital, not the other one you mentioned.
No, University. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
They're good. They're very good too.
We have great hospitals in Northeast Ohio.
Oh yeah.
So
my thought is, I was looking forward. I gave my tickets away for Sunday night's game. I gave them to a friend just because I was at the opening game, and that was disappointing. Now, I don't know. That game to me. The Browns are definitely underdogs in that Sunday night game for sure.
You're a good friend, giving away tickets to the Sunday night game against the Rams.
Well, I sold them. I didn't give them away.
Oh, you didn't tell me that part.
Yeah, it's not that good of a friend.
So tell me about the secondary market. Did you make it? Was a friend, so that may have changed.
No, it was just I sold them at face. I bought them. I got them at face value and sold them to a friend at face value.
Oh, okay. That's not the scalping. You're okay.
But because it was a Sunday, this game is in such high demand, though. This ticket went at a higher premium than the regular ticket.
I was at lunch today at Sokolowski's University Inn. I was talking with somebody about the fact they had asked me about the change in time of the Indians game, which went to 6:30, I think.
Yeah.
On Sunday night, and they were complaining about that because this guy had come in from out of town for that purpose to go to both games, and he was not happy, but. It's still going to be great downtown. He can see half of the Indians game and then go finish off the Browns game.
I'm sorry?
He can watch half of the Indians game and then a 10-minute walk, if you have good parking, 10-minute walk to the football stadium.
Now, what time was the Indians game supposed to take place? 1?
I thought 1,
I think it was a 1 o'clock, yeah.
And then why did they move it up? For national TV?
Well, there's not a lot of wild card games left.
I see.
I
was actually last night watching the Dodgers Tampa-bay-Rays game live. I streamed it live on my TV. Les, I'll teach you how to do it sometime.
Well,
it may take a few hours.
I happen to catch it on MLB Network, and I thought that was going to be a win for the Dodgers, and they disappointed me.
I know. And I saw Mary Hart there with her elderly husband cheering on the team from behind home plate.
It used to be Larry King's seats.
Yeah, I think she scalped them off him. Oh. But what's your prediction for, I may not talk to you between now and the game. What's your thoughts or prediction on the Browns-Rams game? And I'll give you mine.
Give me yours. You're not going to like mine. What is yours?
I got the Rams 27, Browns 24.
I'm thinking in that range. How about you, Dan?
Well, you guys
or
really
can't you
aren't
give
like
it away
mine.
yet?
I think the Rams 32, Browns 20.
Wow.
I do think on the back of my mind that,
homers here. Go ahead.
Upsets do happen, and maybe if Hollywood Higgins comes back, or I don't know what's his status, Dan. Do you know Rashard Higgins' status?
I think there's a chance he could play. It might be one of those things that we find out on Sunday, but I think there's a chance he could play, and it's good you bring him up because they've really missed him. I thought on Monday night, he's a guy that Baker-Mayfield really trusts.
Yeah. And this is the thing. that Freddie-Kitchens is learning about. All of a sudden they say, oh, by the way, so-and-so's on the injured list. Well, he didn't have to deal with that very much in the past.
Yeah, and he didn't have to answer questions about injuries, which he obviously does not like to do.
No.
Yeah, it's a new world when you're the head coach.
Anything else, BP?
No, but like I said, I mean, in the back of my mind, upsets do happen. It's a long season. We're still, the crowd is going to be, of course, amped up. We haven't been on Sunday Night Football probably since 2008. So
that is correct.
Anything can happen. So I'm going to be very optimistic still. The Rams seem to have, not that many injuries, and the Browns have even guys like Demarius Randall and Christian Kirksey, David Njoku. I mean, these are serious injuries. So
no question about it. Good to talk to you. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the games.
You too, guys.
All right, Northeast Factory Direct, 3 great locations. They're just bare-bone warehouses filled with some of the same stuff you're going to find at a number of stores, except for one significant difference. At Northeast Factory Direct, these items are priced at half of the regular price and even lower in many, many cases. If you want nice big-ticket items to improve your home and you want to pay half price, half what most people pay, I suggest Northeast Factory Direct, West 140th Street in Cleveland, and of course in Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, and the Freeway Drive location, that's in Macedonia. Or check them out, check everything out at northeastfactorydirect.com. Dan Labbe and I return in a moment. Sokolowski's University Inn. As I mentioned, I was there today, as I usually go on Thursdays if I'm not doing radio, which I won't be doing tomorrow. But I will be doing it on Friday as well as Monday, as well as Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Sokolowski's University Inn, 11 to 3, Monday through Friday, Friday and Saturday nights for dinner. The winner of the James Beard Foundation Award, good enough to be the only one in the city of Cleveland that has ever won that prestigious award, and they deserve it. It's Cleveland's oldest owned and operated family business, family restaurant, Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll come back in a moment. We'll check out sports history and more when we get back. More Sports and Les-levine exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of September and save up to half off. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history. September 19th, 2015. A guy from Oklahoma, Baker-Mayfield, sets a school record, 572 total yards, 4 touchdown passes, ran for 2 more, and he did it in a 52-38 win over Tulsa. Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know. Somebody should look him up.
Look him up. Let's Google Baker-Mayfield, see if we can find him. Let's check out How Come Quickie. How come nobody works on Labor Day? Any idea?
I don't know.
Well, a lot of people do, but not as many as on a regular day. 216-575-0403. We'll check out a good batch of quickies a little bit later. Jalen Ramsey is a name that popped up, and according to some national reports, Browns one of 5 teams at this point who are interested in him.
Yeah, it's an interesting name. Obviously, a huge personality, but also a very good player. A guy the Browns actually could have drafted back in 2016 when they had that number 2 pick and traded back. He's been very good throughout his career. Has also talked a lot throughout his career.
But that was part of the scouting report.
Yeah, exactly. It would be an interesting decision to bring him in. You know, you have Denzel Ward. You drafted Greedy Williams. You know, he would probably push Greedy Williams onto the bench unless Greedy could play in the slot or something like that.
Getting back to Ward, is there a concern of too many injuries? I mean, he had the concussions last year, and his name does seem to pop up quite a bit.
I think my biggest concern is he's just not playing well right now. Yeah. And on Monday night even, you know, he played better, but he missed a lot of tackles, and this defense really puts an emphasis on tackling. Steve Wilkes is really putting an emphasis on tackling.
And I can see Greg Williams say, see, I told you.
Yeah, and if you start missing tackles on Sunday, you know, against the Jets, you can miss some tackles, and maybe you give up a first down. You miss tackles against the Rams, they're going to run it out of the back of the end zone.
All right, so would you go after him or not, Jalen Ramsey?
I'd consider it. I mean, you're going all in. You know, and if you can go get a guy like Jalen Ramsey, and to me, it's sort of the Odell Beckham thing, right? You gave up a first-round pick for Odell Beckham. Are you going to draft a player better than Beckham?
No.
Probably not.
No, that's the logic I would use.
Yeah, and even if this Browns team doesn't get to 10 wins or 11 wins or whatever it is, their draft pick is still not going to be, you know, barring absolute disaster, it's not going to be a top 10 pick. So I think you would take Jalen Ramsey.
Unless he's in trouble in the clubhouse.
And that's what they'd have to determine. Can they bring in another big personality like that, because they already have so many? And is there leadership in that locker room to control him, or is it just going to enable him and make it more of a circus?
I mean, generally you hear you can't have more than 2 troublemakers, right?
Yeah, and you know, the good news is these guys aren't really troublemakers necessarily, they're just talkers.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned it off that lead. You know, Odell Beckham, you were told, isn't going to get in trouble with the law. He's not going to be an off-the-field problem. He's just going to draw a lot of attention to himself, and it's worth that trouble. And Jalen Ramsey's kind of the same way.
He's followed through on the scouting report.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoever told you that,
what were you thinking when you saw the one-handed grab?
It was, you know, in real time, I didn't even realize it was one-handed. I just thought it was a great throw and catch. And then I looked up in the press box and saw replays, and it was incredible. And it's exactly what you said.
I don't think he could have had it with both hands.
No, I don't think he could have. And he makes it look so easy, and we saw it throughout camp. We see it in practice. He just snatches these balls out of the air with no trouble.
Okay, speaking of guys who throw the ball, well, you're talking about guys who catch the ball. I'm going to talk about one who throws it. Colin Kaepernick, hanging out there, supposedly in football shape. I don't know about that, but you know what the other problems. I'm not sure any owner wants to take that on and sell it to the fan base. But the guy can still play.
I think he can. I think it's insane that he doesn't have a job yet. I mean, I understand if you bring him in, there's going to be a little bit of a media circus around that because of the kneeling, and people are going to want to talk about that. But if you're bringing him in to be your starting quarterback, I think that blows over pretty quickly. You deal with it for a week, and now he's playing football, and it's all about football after that.
Yeah, and if he plays well, you don't hear about it at all.
Yeah, bring the guy in and see what he can do. If you're a team like the Jets,
yeah, why wouldn't you?
You know, why not bring him in for a little bit until Sam Darnold comes back, or one of these other teams? You know, a team like the Steelers. He'd be really interesting there with the way he plays and moves around.
In that offense, no question about that. 216-575-0403. Dan Labbe here, Cleveland Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. We'll come back. We'll take a break, and we will find out if the How Come Quickies are a good batch or not. You never know. It's like chocolate, right? Forrest Gump. Open it up, you don't know what you're going to get. Northfield Park, you know what you're going to get there. Finest in racing. Live racing on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Live and simulcast racing coming your way at Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. We'll come back with less history, your phone calls, and How Come Quickies. When we get back, More Sports and Les-levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of September and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at 'It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
All right, let's check out this date in Les-Levine history, 1980. A rumor surfaces that Al Michaels practiced Do You Believe in Miracles in case Dwayne Kuiper would hit a home run in a game that he did. Now, I'm just doing that because I heard him on radio today, Al Michaels, and they were joking about just that. So,
okay.
Do You Believe in Miracles really totally for the hockey game against Russia. You see, oh, there you go. This week in review in the Roland School Spelling Bee, Les is eliminated when he misspelled the word misspelled, which is spelled M-I-S-S-P-E-L-L-E-D. Very confusing.
It's a tricky word.
It is a very tricky word.
Two S's in there.
Then they throw in the hyphen. All right. Les asked his history teacher in 1966, when Abe Lincoln was president, if the power went off, did he have to read by candlelight? Probably not.
No, I doubt it.
Les ties his own record of recording the open for his show in 13 takes.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty bad. That's not,
I think it's
you
good.
think that 13 takes is
well,
good?
It's better than 14.
It is, but 13, you're not going to get too many more chances. There's no time left with that pressure, the pressure rolling. The other day we were talking about pitchers who lost 20 games in a year, and we were asking why they would let a pitcher do that. Why wouldn't you stop at 19? You're certainly not in a pennant race. You don't need him to win. You know, do the guy a favor. Don't let him be known as the guy who lost 20 games. Well, Glenn Berger reminds me that one pitcher who lost 20 in a season was a guy named Don Larson, who went 3-21 for the Orioles in 1954. 2 years later, 1956, he threw that perfect game in the '56 World Series for the Yankees against the Brooklyn Dodgers. What a turnaround! Even though Dale Mitchell that was a ball, that was not. It was called a strike in strike three, but to this day, I don't think so. How many times do you think you've seen that?
I mean, that's a great thing about baseball. Like,
you can still argue about it?
Controversies, and yeah, it's such a great sport to argue about.
216-575-0403 if you want to get in before the end of the show. So let's check out some quickies today. We'll start off with Big Ed. How come my wife makes food fit for a king? So I say, come here, king. Come on, boy.
I like that one.
I like that one
Are
also.
we rating them here? I'll give that one.
Yeah. What do you got?
All right, I'll give that one a. We'll start with the 7 again. I think I started with 7 last week too. But I think that's a good
location is
point.
important. How come when I told my doctor I couldn't afford the operation, he offered to touch up my X-rays? They're getting better. I must admit that people are understanding what they are all about. Although this one is more of a visual one. Mitch from Kent says, how come some people pronounce the Roman numeral I as 1 when it should be I? That's a bad reference. How come the Energizer Bunny was charged with battery?
Okay. We'll go,
what do you got?
I'm going to go 6.5 on
6.5?
that one.
All right. So
a
you
little
grade
less
on
than the dog one.
So you grade on a curve.
Yeah.
Mr. Gullible says, all right, you got to listen to this now.
Okay.
You got to study it before you just say whatever number you're going to say. How come when I was diagnosed as colorblind, it hit me right out of the purple? As opposed to right out of the blue, I assume.
You know what? We're going 9.
You're going 9 on that one.
I think that's good because you have to think about it a little bit. Takes a little time.
And then come back and say, did I really hear it?
Yeah, I like that.
How come atheists don't solve exponential equations because they don't believe in higher powers?
I was never good at math. I can't rate that one.
And finally, John Patrick comes up with this one. It's short and sweet. Bud Shaw loves the short and sweet ones. How come I was going to look for my missing watch, but I could never find the time.
It's appropriate with the Odell Beckham stuff.
If you wore
late.
a $2 million watch, you'd have no trouble at all with that.
Yeah.
Did you ever?
That's why you can't wear a $2 million watch, because you'd put it in a drawer somewhere and you'd never find it.
So, did you actually see it?
I didn't see it. No.
What does a $2 million watch look like?
I don't know.
Does it have, like, instead of 12 numbers, does it have 13?
Maybe. Well, we joked when he came out and warmed up in the watch on Monday night, maybe he picked one up on the street in New York, one of the fake ones, and then it turns out that someone took a closer look at it, and it might have actually
been
a fake.
the one.
Yeah.
I remember I bought a watch on the streets of New York. It was a Roxel, R-O-X-E-L. I thought it was Rolex.
Yeah, nobody noticed.
Not
right?
true. It didn't happen. Wouldn't it be funny if you look at the watch and you realize it shows Freddie-Kitchens how many timeouts are left? That's perfect clock management.
His timeout watch.
Well, hey, my timeout watch is ringing. Timeout. I'm challenging that. All right, tell me what we're going to see on Sunday night besides excitement downtown, at least until 8 o'clock p.m.
Yeah, I just don't know if this Browns team, even if they were healthy, I don't know that they'd be able to beat this Rams team in their current state. I just think the Browns are still figuring things out. I think the Rams will attack them a lot with screenplays. We saw the Titans do it. The Jets tried to do it somewhat
Titans only got
unsuccessfully.
75 yards out of
Yeah,
theirs.
they only got 75 yards on one. So I think we're going to see a lot of screenplays. They're going to really attack on the ground. I just don't know if the Browns are going to be able to slow that offense.
Well, let's be honest. Sean McVay, who got all kinds of credit for last year, his offense hasn't been that great this year.
Yeah, they haven't been as sharp, but they have been sort of like the Browns, honestly. They've been a big play offense.
Right.
So they can hit you with those big plays, and they've sort of figured out how to use Todd Gurley and keep him healthy. They're sort of doing that NBA-style load management thing with him where they run some other guys early, and then they'll start handing him the football.
Right.
So I just think there's too much on that side of the ball, and then that defense is really good too.
All right, so you expect to pound it out on the ground, short passing, long passing? What do you think for the Browns?
I think the Browns will try to get the ball out quickly, finally. I think it's been such a point of emphasis, and knowing that you've got this pass rush of the Rams coming after you.
Right.
I think they're going to try and get the ball out quickly. Maybe get Nick Chubb more involved in the passing game. Maybe they'll throw some screens back at the Rams. They've tried to get a bunch of bubble screens, and they've hit on a couple of them here and there. I think we'll see quicker things from the Browns on Sunday night.
Do you think, when will they come in? When will the Rams come in? Because you're traveling across country. Would they come in on Saturday during the morning, probably?
They could either come in Saturday, which would be their normal travel day, or they could come in Friday. I don't remember if Sean McVay told us in his conference call that he had with us the other day.
I don't think there's an answer as to what's the best way to do it.
I don't think there is either. I mean, the 49ers stayed in Youngstown for a week in between games. So there's so many different ways to do it. And the Browns last year, I know they flew out to Denver a day early. They flew out to Oakland a day early. And they didn't win those games.
In my extensive experience, I've found that if you have a better team, you generally will win.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what time zone you play in.
Right. All right, have a great week. Thanks to Dan Labbe. Did a great job as always. We appreciate it very much. And we'll see him on Sunday night. Is that right? Sunday night, Saturday? Sunday night. This is confusing me terribly. But you and I, unfortunately, for Browns fans, picking the Rams to win.
Yeah,
doesn't mean we want it to happen.
No, I mean, look, it's always funner to cover a win, and that place would be absolutely electric if the Browns won that game.
No question about it. All right, we'll see you next week. We do it live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and then, of course, you can archive it all day and night on cleveland.com. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.